watched the game last night. The Buffalo Bills dismantled the Tennessee Titans. And what I realized was this as I was watching the game. There is the NFC. Obviously, we know about the NFC. Historically speaking, the NFC, it has been the greater of the conferences. There's also the AFC, and we know very much so about the AFC. They're dominant this year. And then there's the Buffalo Bills. Why? Because the Bills are in a league of their own. There's the NFC, the AFC, and the Buffalo Bills because ain't nobody on their level. Week 1, they smacked, and I mean smacked, the Los Angeles Rams. I was there. The Rams, as we know, Super Bowl champs, got smacked on their home court. Then just last night, the Tennessee Titans, they were the #1 seed in the AFC last year. Bills smacked them around. So now the Bills have dominated 2 of the best opponents in football, and it doesn't even look close. I picked the Bills to win the Super Bowl, and for the first time in my life, I actually look smart. So I got to head to the desk for this one. Joy, is anyone on the Buffalo Bills level?
Yes. I will also say I did pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl as well.
Hell yeah.
But there is still that team in Kansas City, quarterbacked by Patrick Mahomes, which the Bills have yet to unseat. So I have to keep it real. While I would like for my pick to be correct, I can't be disrespectful to the Canes, who are the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills have to unseat them in the playoffs. The Bills have to surpass them, and they haven't done that yet. Now, we will luckily get the opportunity to see that as the Chiefs host the Bills in Week 6 this season, and then we'll need to keep that same energy depending on how that goes, how that particular game goes. But as impressive as the Bills have been, I have to say the Chiefs have been as impressive. And we had questions about the Chiefs going into the season because, of course, Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, is now in Miami doing what Tyreek Hill did in Kansas City, and we didn't know if they were going to be able to close the gap of losing a talent like that. They look fine. And the Bills have yet to beat them. So until that happens, I can't put the Bills above the Chiefs or disrespect the Chiefs by saying they're not in the same class as the Bills.
Shady, I don't view it as disrespectful. I view it as being real. Like when I watch these Bills, I realize it's not just who you beat, it's how you beat them.
Right.
I like the Chiefs' wins. They beat the Cardinals down. I don't think much of the Cardinals. I didn't last year. I didn't this year. I like the Chiefs' wins. They beat the Chargers, though Dave and Shady would tell me it was a maligned Chargers team. I like the Chiefs' wins, but I love the Bills' wins.
Yeah.
I love what the Bills have done, and I think styles make fights. The Bills picked up where they were weak. They said, we need a pass rusher. We're going to go get first-ballot Hall of Famer Von Miller. The Chiefs said, we have a good secondary. We're going to continue to shore that up. I love the Buffalo Bills. Is anybody on their level?
I love the Bills, right? But I got to say, yes, there is. You say you like fights. Styles make fights. And in Philadelphia, Rocky Balboa is real. He's a real fighter. It's Muhammad Ali and Rocky Balboa. And I'm going to say it like this. You watched the game last night. What did my boys do? We dominated. We dominated. So I love the Bills, but if you ask me if there's anybody else on their level, I got to say them Eagles, the big dogs in the NFC.
So Joy kind of says you got to see it to believe it, right? But you haven't seen it from the Eagles, but you still think the Eagles can actually make noise. Does the Bills' history, does Josh Allen, who he is a quarterback, the Bills winning playoff games as of late, does that not mean more to you than what you've even seen from some of these other teams?
Well, I mean, you're talking about right now, right? Yep. And the team that how we put together, he assembled together from draft picks, from getting trades, right? A.J. Brown, like, you're putting it all together, man. And now the quarterback,
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, he's really stepping up. He's playing well. So I got to see a little bit more from him against a better opponent. But the way the offense and defense is playing together, bro, like, for example, Justin Jefferson is like a dog. He's a beast. And did you see Slay last night? I was surprised. When you have 2 elite guys, it goes, I might get one on you, you might get one on me. It goes back and forth. But last night, it was all Slay, all defense, all offense. So that's another big dog. I like to see that fight with the AFC Bills against NFC
So
Eagles.
you love the Eagles. Dave, is anybody on the Bills level?
You know what's funny? Like, Joy and I have the same thought process, but we wound up with different answers. That sounds weird. I just look at it like this. It's a long season, right? The Chiefs are going to be there at the end. We feel pretty confident about that.
More than likely.
So we can't sit here and say, the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. The Bills are going to just run roughshod over the league. We know that's not going to happen. We know this is the NFL. They lost to the Jags last year. Somebody's going to give them a problem. But right now, through 2 weeks, if you're just going based on what you've seen, nobody looks as good as Buffalo. Nobody. Plus 55 in point differential. You're not supposed to be able to do that in the NFL against 2 teams that made the playoffs last year. I don't think the Titans are very good for whatever that's worth. But to beat the defending champs down in their own house, that carries a lot of weight for me. So again, the Chiefs will be there. That's a conversation for later in the season. But right now, nobody looks as good as the Bills.
I think about it like this, Joy. The Bills are so good that we said the Rams were sorry.
Yeah.
That's how good the Bills are.
The Bills got me questioning the defending champions.
And Shady, we were there. The Bills are so good that we were like, you know what? The Rams might be terrible this year.
They did struggle with the Falcons.
They struggled by scoreboard alone.
I was saying,
but
they
really
did
by scoreboard alone. But during the course of the game, the Rams were up on the Falcons, I think, by 20 points over the course of that time. So I hear where you're saying, Joy, you need to see it to believe it. But for me, I've already seen what I need to see. The Bills lost to the Chiefs by 14 2 years ago in the playoffs. They lost to the Chiefs by 6 last year in the playoffs. We're already starting to see the trajectory of the Bills catching up to the Chiefs. I don't need to see the Bills to beat the Chiefs to know what's going to happen.
Oof. You deal with that, Joy.
As a woman, I'm uniquely designed to listen for the holes in your argument and remember them. Put them in a little filing cabinet for later. Maybe we use this now. Maybe we pull it out 6 months. It's all strategy. I'm going to pull it out now because you guys are saying a lot of things, and they're actually building the argument for the Chiefs. You mentioned what you've seen from Josh Allen winning in playoff games, and that's why you're not sure about Jalen Hurts. What did you see from Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs against the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs?
Wins, dubs.
Wins.
I seen Tyreek Hill.
So, okay.
I seen a 6-yard pass go for 68 yards.
That's fair.
That's gone.
That's fair.
That's gone.
But they are still 2-0 without Tyreek Hill. You're talking about the Buffalo Bills wins versus the Kansas City Chiefs wins. Well, Kansas City beat 2 teams that are 1-1. Who did Buffalo beat? Tennessee.
1-2.
And the Rams.
Get a win.
Yep.
And the Rams. So by that measurement, then the Chiefs wins are more quality than the Bills' 2 wins.
I would say it's a lazy metric system, but sure.
I mean, are we counting numbers? Are we using numbers? Or we're not using numbers? We don't have to use numbers because then it's just really what you see. It's easy to fall in love with what the Bills are doing. They looked incredible last night, and they have looked great. I picked the Bills, so I'm not arguing against them. But the idea that we are just supposed to write off every other good team in the league because of how visually great the Bills look, I think is a little disrespectful to teams that have already beat the Bills multiple times.
But I'm not saying write the other teams off. I'm just saying Sharpie
there's
the Bills
nobody else on their level.
Correct.
Sharpie?
Here's why.
In the NFL.
Here's why.
Come on now.
Here is why. Anybody can win on any given Sunday. The Bills got to play the Dolphins this weekend. Sure, the Dolphins can get a win. I love the Dolphins. I ride for them just as hard, if not harder, than anybody on national television. But you can beat somebody you're not better than. You talked about that last week. My point is this. If it is the Chiefs, and I do think the Chiefs are the most competitive team in the AFC as it stands on this day for the Bills. If it is the Chiefs got worse this offseason.
That's true.
And the Bills got better this offseason. And by no small margin. Yes, the Chiefs have won the first 2 games, but the Chiefs did not get worse by a small margin. Marquez Valdez-Scantling hasn't showed up. Juju Smith-Schuster hasn't showed up.
They haven't played yet. Oh, wait.
They played.
Oh.
You just can't check in the box score until they played.
Right.
Meanwhile, the Bills players that they acquired in the offseason have showed up in a major way. Von Miller, 2 sacks week 1 against the Rams. So when I really look at it, Joy, I'm not mad at your argument because I do think if you are the champion of the world, somebody has to come in and take it.
That's
I know
true.
the Chiefs aren't the champions of the world, but they are the champions of the AFC over the last 5 years. Somebody got to come in and take it, but the Bills already look poised to get it.
I just want to ask this. So, like, you talked about the 2 games, right? And better opponents. We can say that. The Chiefs had better opponents.
I wouldn't even say that.
No, I'll give her that. But
the Cardinals or the Chargers?
This is my thing, real quick. Who was more dominant, though? Like, our eyes work, right? My eyes are not lying.
But if they're not as good of an opponent, then it shouldn't be as impressive or dominant, which I'm not going to – I understand what you're saying.
Y'all got to talk through this one.
I'm not going to go that far.
I just want to ask this, though. Like, it's the NFL, right? It's the elite level. I'm just saying, like, who looked more dominant?
The Bills do.
The Bills.
Yeah.
So I'm not arguing that the Bills aren't looking dominant and aren't actually dominating. They have. But we are talking about, is there anyone on their level?
Right now.
It's the Chiefs.
It's the Birds.
It's the Chiefs. And I actually will give you the Eagles as well.
I'm not ready to say that, but
you can't.
I think there is a very slim margin for great teams for this year in the NFL, and we're already seeing it. I don't think there's a ton of great teams.
I agree with that.
I wouldn't say more than
teams.
2 or 3.
I agree with that. I'd say I counted it 4.
Three or four.
3 or 4. I'd say we know of 3, and we'd probably go to 4.
Who's y'all's third?
I would say I'm putting the Dolphins in there as it stands right now. I'm putting the Dolphins in there.
Elite.
That's not bad.
I'm putting the Dolphins in there.
All right.
But here's my thought process is, like, when you talk about anybody being on the Bills level, the Cardinals, to me, aren't that good. I think we're all on the same page. Like, the Cardinals are not that good. So, yes, the Chiefs mollywhopped the Cardinals, but they're not that good. The Bills won by 21 on the road. You know what it's like because you played in Buffalo. Flying from Buffalo to Los Angeles, 6-hour flight, time change, defending champs on ring night. And you smacked them? Teams don't lose on ring night. I think it might have been like
from the first play of the game, too.
You smacked them. Then you beat the Titans. Say what you want about the Tennessee Titans, but they've been to the playoffs the last several years. Derrick Henry has been a beast. They've been a 1, 2, 3 seed. They've been continually good, and they have a good head coach. And you smack them on prime time? Nobody has wins as good as these Bills wins, period. That's where I'm at. That's why I'm like, the Chiefs beating the Chargers isn't as good of a win as this. Maybe if the Chargers were at full strength. But the Chiefs beating the Chargers weren't as good as win as this.
The reason why I picked the Eagles, right, on the same level is because when I look as like an overall team, right, I think that the Eagles completely together is better, right? Seriously, though. I'm just saying, if you look at, hear me out for a second, right? First of all,
I can see, where's your jersey? Where's your, like, midnight green jersey?
When teams play the Eagles, up front is scary. And the secondary is better than Philadelphia. Right? You got two corners that I know right now.
Tre'Davious White's not playing yet.
He's not playing, right? He's a beast. But the two corners right now, y'all don't know their names. Nobody in America knows their names. I'll wait.
Honestly,
but you know Poyer and you know Micah, the safeties.
Here's why I can't have that conversation. I can't have that conversation.
You see what Slay did right now. If Diggs is your best wide receiver, Slay, go get him. Look, take the collar off. Look, go get him.
What's the equalizer?
And he gonna go get him, right?
What's the great equalizer in football?
Thank you.
What's the great equalizer?
The great equalizer in football is who we're going to talk about coming up shortly. That's the quarterback position and Jalen Hurts.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.